Hello friends, dear students, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Pillars Institute. Today we are going to have a self-assessment of the last chapter that we have discussed, that is development. We have taken some questions from the students. These questions are being repeatedly asked by many of the students and the viewers that have watched our previous lectures on development. So the first question that we have taken is mention any four features of development. In this question, we need to describe the four characteristic features of development through which we can identify what is development is all about. Second question is what does sustainability means and why it is important? This question is basically related with the importance and the significance of sustainability for attaining a development which is long lasting and will not affect the natural balance. That is sustainable development. In this question, we need to describe why we need sustainability. As because then we can say that it is important for sustainable development, it is important for consistent and permanent development. Then first we have to define what is sustainability, what does sustainability mean, is sustainable, what is the criteria for sustainability, what is sustainability, and then why it is important for development. Then in third question we have difference between economic growth and development. Economic growth and development. Okay. Fourth and the last question is what are the factors through which we can compare development of two or more countries? How we can compare the development of two or more countries and what should be the criteria with which we are going to do this comparison? So one by one, I am going to answer all these questions. I am going to explain all these questions and their answers. So let us start with the first one. The first question, as it says, mention any four characteristic features of development. Answer to this question is, you can write in a very common language that following are the four features of development. Yeah, these are the four characteristics of development. You can choose any line, any statement that is being usually used. But the answer, the content of the answer should be the first and the prime most feature of development is a situation. It is a situation. It is not a thing or a human being, but it merely a situation. A situation in which a person has all the resources which is being required for his satisfaction and survival. It is a situation in which a person has all the resources that he needs, that he requires in order to sustain his life and in order to improvise, in order to improve his living standard, in order to get a quality of life, the resources that he required. If he had all the resources, then this situation is called being developed. So it is a situation first of all. The very first characteristic of development is that it is a situation of having all the minimum resources which are required for a comfortable life. Second feature, second characteristic of development is it is dynamic process. Development is a dynamic process. It changes with person to person, it changes with time, it changes with situation. ये एक डायनेमिक प्रोसेस है, स्टैटिक नहीं है, ये चेंज होता रहता है. तो सेकंड कैरेक्टरिस्टिक हम देखते हैं दैट डेवलपमेंट इज अ डायनेमिक प्रोसेस. इट चेंज विद टाइम, इट चेंज विद पर्सन एंड इट चेंज विद सिचुएशन. द थर्ड कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ डेवलपमेंट इज it is subjective in nature. Development is subjective as it is dependent on the personal goals and objectives which vary from person to person, which vary with the economical status of the person. If I am having a higher standard, my development level is something else, and if a second person is of another economic status like middle status or lower status, his development goals are different from mine. So it is subjective. It changes with the person. Third important characteristic of development, third important feature of development is dynamic. Fourth characteristic of development, that it is directly dependent on the income. Development is dependent on income. It is being defined by the amount of income that a person will earn. Yani development, the judging criteria of development is the personal income, which vary according to the skills and abilities and which vary with the work opportunity that a person will have. So the answer of the first question, I hope I am very clear. 4 characteristics I have just discussed. First one, development is subjective in nature. Development is dynamic process. Development is a situation, and the prime criteria that development depends upon the personal income. Okay. Now coming on to the second question, that is, what does sustainability mean and why it is important? Sustainability means to ensure the consistency of a situation. Sustainability word means to ensure the consistency, permanency, consistency, continuation of a situation, present situation. In a context of development, sustainability here means the continuation of a developed state, consistency of a development which is being acquired. Once a person is being developed, he must have to maintain this development for a long period of time. This is called sustainability, along with not affecting the natural balance, that is the balance of the ecosystem. So that is why it is important. Sustainability will give you the ensurety of optimum utilization of resources, that is the fuller utilization of existing available resources, and it also prevents wastage of the resources. It also prevents over exploitation of resources, and it will help in preserving the resources for future generation. That is why it is important. The importance of anything will be dependent upon the function that it performs. Sustainability helps in the fuller utilization of resource. That is why it is important. Sustainability helps in the prevention of wastage of resource. That is why it is important. Sustainability helps in preserving the resource for future generation. That is why it is important. And sustainability helps in the prevention of over exploitation of resources. That is why it is important. So in a second part of the question, that why it is important, we can write sustainability is important as because it performs and because it helps in the preservation of resource. It is important as because it is important as because it helps in the fuller utilization of resource. It is important as because it helps in the prevention of wastage of resource, as it helps in the prevention of over exploitation of resource. That is why it is important for sustainable development. Hope this answers the question. Now, question number 3, difference between economic growth and development. Here in this question, we are going to point out the difference between growth and development. As I explained it in my lecture, that growth means quantitative change. On the other hand, development means quantitative as well as qualitative change. So, the prime difference between growth and development, that it is quantitative in nature, and the development is quantitative and qualitative in nature. First difference. Second difference, growth is short term. It is for a short period of time. it is momentary, temporary in nature. On the other hand, development is for a long period of time. It is permanent in nature. Second point of difference is growth is temporary, momentary, for a short period of time. But development is for a long period of time. It is permanent in nature. Second point of difference. Third point of difference is economic growth only emphasizes on the income of the people. It can be analyzed by observing only the income. But development not only depends upon the income, but also on other parameters like public infrastructure, like goals and objectives in a context of person. So, growth can be analyzed, growth can be observed just by observing the income, amount of income that is being generated by a person or the economy. But development not only depends upon income, but also on other parameters like public infrastructure in case of national development and goals and objectives in case of personal development. So, hope this answers the question, and you all know that what is the difference between economic growth and development. Final question is, what are the factors through which we can compare development of two or more countries? How can we compare the development status of one country with other? So, let me first explain that comparison can only be done when there is a common ground. Those who are a student of philosophy are aware that comparison can only be done when there is something common. So obviously we are going to compare the two countries, level of development of two countries on the basis of common ground, and that common ground is the per capita income. That common ground is the public facilities which is provided in the countries. That common ground is the literacy rate, life expectancy ratio, net attendance ratio, infant mortality rate. All these factors, that is HDI, all these factors will become a common ground of comparison of development between two or more countries. In order to compare the development, we need to have a proper information. We need to analyze the amount of income, per capita income in one country and per capita income in other country. Public facilities which is provided in one country and public facilities, standard of the public facilities provided in another country. What is the standard? Difference in the standard. In a very same way, we are going to compare the literacy ratio, literacy rate, how many people are literate, how many people are illiterate in both the countries which are subjected to comparison. In a very same way, we are going to assess, we are going to analyze that what is the life expectancy in the one country and in another country which are subjected to comparison. So, common grounds. The answer to the question that what are the factors through which, I have just listed many of the factors on the basis of which we are going to compare the level of development of two or more countries. Hope this answers the question. For any other query and for more questions if you have, then you can ask those questions in the comment section. These questions have been repeatedly asked by the students, so I have taken 4 common questions which can explain many of it. There are all relative questions to that. The answers of these questions can cover up to those also. So if you have a query, if you have a question, then you can ask in the comment section, and do subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thank you very much.